To the Director of Youth Protection. Dear System, Tuesday, October 15, 2019. Hello, it's been a while. Do you remember me? We first met when I was 9 years old. I was with my sister, she was 10. Remember? It's okay. I've got big black holes in my memory too. We met because I wasn't being cared for properly at home by my mother. She wasn't a mean or angry person. My mom just didn't know how to take care of us. Maybe you remember her. You met each other when she was 9 or so years old, around 1957, 1958. She was with her little brother who was 7 and her big sister who was 11. Come on, you must remember the abuse they lived. It scared them for life. No? Still can't place me. See, I'm not a kid anymore, and a lot of time has gone by. All these years later, I find myself with questions for you that I seriously need answers to. Even though you don't remember me, I remember you. We called you the System, and we were system kids. We were in great hands, I'm sure, even though it felt cold and empty. That's why I met you in the first place. You promised to take care of me and my sister. Everyone trusted you. You laid out a foolproof plan, giving specific instructions on how to make a system, raise healthy, happy children. You really did it up good by promising the world that if a child needed to be removed from his or her home for whatever reason you believed was fit, that child would receive everything necessary to that child's development, including a safe, secure, kind, and loving home and environment. That child would be given everything necessary to their full development that the natural parents, for whatever reasons, couldn't provide. But you know all that. It's you that said it. Really? Well, just to be sure, let's have a look. There's a bunch of us system kids out there. It's so weird, because we're getting connected after all this time again. You know what's so funny? When we started coming and talking together as grown-ups again, we started realizing we still had lots in common. Like drug and alcohol addictions, broken relationships all our lives because the system taught us to trust nobody, not even ourselves. We noticed a pattern like a family tradition that ran through each of us, that we were alone, that we were loser system kids. We even now know that when you spoke about the children who fell through the cracks, you were talking about us. And we never knew we were in a crack until we started coming together. Well, look, I'm not insulted that you don't remember me. There were thousands of us losers. You had your hands full. I know nobody's perfect. After all, it was humans running the system. And if those humans would have followed the rules and guidelines set by you, the system just might have worked well. I get it. I'm not a complete idiot, even though I spent the majority of my life locked up in your system. Then I graduated into the adult prison system. I know a bit about how this world you live in works. It's about money. Even though I know you promised us, that we had the right to a proper public education. Imagine that would have been way too expensive to provide. Come on now. Every child a proper public education? Where's the money for that? I know you went to school because you deserved it. Who wants to sink all kinds of money into educating a bunch of idiots? Seriously. Don't get me wrong. I know your system raised us to shut up. Don't complain, don't ask questions, and for God's sakes, don't rat. And that's something else we all have in common as a group, almost like a family. Me writing to you today to ask you some questions about your system is very uncomfortable. I was always intimidated by you growing up. I was smaller than you, that's probably why. It's probably why I remember you always looking down your nose at me. Wait! I think you remember my grandmother. Scared little 8-year-old girl? All alone because she was the only one out of her 6 brothers and sisters to be given away to the system? She didn't understand. She tried to be good. I know that was a long time ago. In 1937, 1939, around there. Can't you feel her tears? They're falling down my face right now. That little girl's tears have always been falling down my face. It's too bad you don't remember her. She grew up hating all children. We felt her hatred every time we crossed paths. Oh well. Who am I to ask you to remember me anyway? You're busy, I can tell, so I'll get to my questions. How did my 11-year-old friend get a blowjob from one of your adult employees? Can we please have all copies of our report cards? Most of us system kids didn't get a chance to go to school, and it would be really nice to see what grades we did complete. You promised us all the counseling we needed as kids. We'd like to see those files. We would like to see all the documentation you had on therapy that you provided us. I was there for my own protection. One friend was there because he had lost both his parents to drugs. One of them died in his young 11-year-old arms. We would like copies of the counseling your system provided us with. You know what's strange is that none of us can remember ever meeting with a child therapist. I know a system kid, Johnny, Cisco, who might like to see any if you have them. We'd have to get permission to contact Johnny because he's in prison for life. The people closest to him say he was a shy, quiet kid. We all know the gross amount of bullying he endured by kids and your employees. Us system kids have tons of bullying Johnny stories. It was severe. That quiet, shy, scared little boy, skinny little boy, grew up to be the ultimate bully. I want to know what happened to Johnny. We'd like to know who was in charge, who was supervising. My sister was slapped hard in the face by an older girl right in front of your employee. Your employee, actually, encouraged it and said nothing. If you could please provide us with your list of chain of command, we might be able to understand. The staff working directly with us were unsupervised and out of control themselves. They were pinning kids down forcefully, pulling hair. Some were punching kids in the mouth. The bullying by kids and the staff was incredible. It was crazy. We all needed supervision. What's your success rate? I know 2% of us system kids made it to university, but what are the statistics for raising us healthy, happy adults? I know you surely keep records of your system's success rate. We want them. How did we end up in the cracks? And who put us there? Why were we left there and forgotten about? What made you think, after all the studies done on raising healthy children, that an ice-cold system could produce anything but an ice-cold product? Can you explain to us why that little Granby girl died last year? Your system knew she needed protection. Did one or more of your employees turn a blind eye? I was sure surprised to find that you found $47 million a couple of weeks later to put into the system. I think that's to grow the machine and buy lots of Band-Aids. It should die down soon, right? Can you explain what your system did to us? Why were we so scared? Why have we passed our lives watching others fall in love and raise their families? Why couldn't we be raised like that? We wanted that so badly, but we had no clue how to get it. We looked at it in pain and isolation all of our lives. Can you tell us what we did to get treated like scummy criminals? I know it's hard to keep your employees working with us because of lack of money, poor training, and we are stressful to work with. What do your employees get paid? After all, they're taking on a huge responsibility by raising us. What's that worth? What do you get paid? Oh, well, since you don't remember me and you don't have time to answer my questions, I'm going to move along. I can see you wiggling uncomfortably in your chair. Even though this is not easy for me to open up, my heart aches for every scared, sad, lonely system kid. And I'm asking questions on behalf of all of us. I know I can't change my past. It played out the way it did. But I also know I can't sit around and do nothing, knowing that as we speak, your system is spitting out hundreds of more broken, defected system kids every day. If I can save one system kid's life from being anything like mine has been, then it's been worth every mile. Thank you, Tammy and Dolosha.